All right, here we go with a drone video of Tract 1 at Elm Hollow on Shoals Lake. We're looking southerly, that's Shoals Lake. We're toward the east side of the lake, enormous lake. You can see the straight line through the trees, that's the power line, and the line that's curving a little bit, that's the county road that goes down toward that little peninsula you see. And then there's a trail that goes down to the end of the peninsula, and you can see that in the other videos, but it's pretty cool. And now we're turning around, and as we look northwesterly, we're basically looking at the property. Tract 1, the map shows, is about 15 acres in size. You can see over to the right, you can see the houses. To the left of that is the county road, and then essentially to the left of that is going to be Tract 1. And now we're coming up on, you can see the cut in the trees, that's the power line. And that crosses over the east side of the property, so we're directly over Tract 1. And obviously the buildings and houses that you see are not on the property, those are on the other side of the county road. Heavily wooded property, in addition to being here at Shoals Lake, which is phenomenal. The fact that it has county road frontage and has electric on site, two very big pluses in our mind as far as a property, whether you're going to build or hunt or camp. Great to have county road frontage, and super great to have electricity, especially if you're going to build someday, or if you just want to have a campsite, to have an RV out there. And having the power is a bonus, and there are a couple actual poles on the property, so that should make it relatively inexpensive to get the power hooked up if you ever wanted to. You could contact the power company for details. Probably mostly hardwoods on this property. You're going to find some cedars and maybe pine trees. It is Elm Hollow, so even though none of us that were out there could identify an elm tree, there probably are some. We saw a lot of red oaks and white oaks and hickories and some walnut trees. So the property is the highest by the county road. As you move away from the county road, it slopes down. If you look toward the right, you can see there's actually kind of a valley that goes through the property. There's a little creek bed at the base of that valley. It's going to be a seasonal creek or a wet weather creek. So that's going to be the lowest part of the property, and then you cross the creek bed, and the last part of the property rises up again. A lot of options on this one. It's a large tract. I believe it's the biggest tract at Elm Hollow. And like I mentioned earlier, the map here is showing that it's 15 acres. We've got a ground video as well. We were able to pull directly off the county road and park on the property. There's no driveway that we could see back into the property, but there was enough space to pull off and park and hop out and look around a little bit. And we found a pretty nice level area, fairly large as well, toward the north side of the property. But if you look at the listing page, you'll be able to see a topo map, and we have an intro video where we kind of go through the topo map and some of the other maps and look at the property. So now I assume we're trying to get a look at that little creek bed or seasonal creek bed on the property. It's always hard to tell from the air, but it looks like there's some mature timber on the property. And you can see a little bit of that creek bed toward the center of the photo there. Obviously you can see the power line. And that's, as we mentioned earlier, the beautiful Shoals Lake. That's one tiny fraction of Shoals Lake. The lake itself is something like 50 or 60,000 acres of water, with close to 1,000 miles of shoreline. All the different coves and everything add up and give it just a tremendous amount of shoreline. So I mean, it's a lake that you could spend years on Shoals Lake and not fully explore the lake. It's just enormous. Now we're drifting backwards, kind of drifting toward the lake as we look northwesterly toward the property, I believe. We're about 4 miles east of Theodosia, Missouri. And Theodosia is a small town, but a nice little town on the lake. There are several marinas. You can rent boats. I believe you can rent jet skis. Different restaurants and cool stuff in the area. Lots of different campgrounds. So if you come out and really want to check out your property for a few days and want to have a place to park your RV or whatnot and plug it in, you could just call up one of the local campgrounds and get a spot, or rent a little cabin or whatnot at one of the small resorts. Beautiful property. Bull Shoals Lake is fantastic. This east side, I guess we would call it more like the family-friendly part of the lake. You see a lot of small bass boats and a lot of pontoon boats with people pulling a tube with their kids on the back. Now looking southerly again. So you can see, just right at the bottom of the screen is where the county road ends. And you could actually see a little bit of that trail that goes out on that small peninsula. And we took that trail that went right to the shoreline. We were able to park and walk around the south tip of the peninsula. It looked like a place that we would be comfortable putting a jet ski or a little boat in the water. There's no actual launch there, but it's hard-packed shoreline, and we've done that numerous times in different spots on Bull Shoals Lake. You don't want to do it with a big boat because it doesn't have the concrete ramp, but for a small bass boat or a jet ski or even a small or mid-sized pontoon boat, we've done that too. We haven't had any issues. You do want certainly a four-wheel drive to put it in the water, but you want that anyway to take that trail to the peninsula. Gorgeous, gorgeous property. You can see a little more of the lake there. It's phenomenal. Beautiful area, beautiful property. Very exciting to have a tract of this size at the lake, with county road frontage, with power on site. Check out the other videos within the listing page. If you have any questions, give us a call. You can see the red truck there. That's just parked there for the video. The property is further up. We can see it, but it's further up toward the left. Actually, that's a pretty good view of the property, or it was. You can see the valley, and then you can see the county road. But anyway, that's it for the drone video. If you have any questions, let us know. That's tract 1 at Elm Hollow on Bull Shoals Lake.